I have been seeing some people asking if I made another weapon camo spreadsheet like the World War II one, and I did, just never found the occasion to talk about it, but here it is if you're still interested. There's a link to make a copy of it below. I didn't make it right away because it isn't as helpful as in World War II. That one I used to track those insane reticle challenges and to calculate your overall percentage completion because the game didn't have that built in. Well, in Black Ops 4, both those reasons are gone. The reticles are only for the sight and not for each weapon. Thank God, never again. I did include those challenges here if you want to check them off since they aren't part of any overall completion. And with that overall percentage, the challenge UI is very clean, it'll calculate all your percentages for you, so there's no point taking the time to manually enter each category into a spreadsheet and try to keep that up to date. You may as well just check your progress in the game. With no need for those two features, now this is only about tracking your camo progress for Dark Matter. I didn't think breaking the categories up any further would be helpful, you don't want it to be a pain to update. There are also those Mastercraft and Reactive challenges for any weapons that are currently known to have variants. I'm sure that'll be all of them after a while. I know the Maddox had one at launch, but was apparently a mistake and got removed. Below the optics, I did include zombies as well, in case you were interested in that, along with the unlock levels of the weapons until that's something you get used to. That wasn't needed in multiplayer because when you unlock a gun there, that's when you can use it in Create a Class, whereas in zombies you need to unlock the weapon in your armory before earning the challenge progress, but you can find them in-game at any time. So if you're level 40 and pick up a Rampart, you might want to check, are these headshots actually counting right now? And the answer would be no. You should look for whatever your highest unlocked weapon is for efficiency, assuming you will keep prestiging, so maybe a VKM or an ABR would be ideal at that level. So there's that. I'll be keeping this template up to date. That same link below will always lead you to the up-to-date version. Whenever a new variant is added or a new weapon, I'll try to stay on top of that. If you've previously made a copy and are using it though, I'm sure it would be easier to just update it on your own. Well, maybe some of you will find some use in that, maybe not, or maybe you already have Dark Matter. In that case, congrats. Now I figured it would be lame to make a video only about releasing a basic camo spreadsheet, so I'll turn this into a little review of the game so far, because that's another thing I've seen questions about. How am I liking the game? How have I been dividing up my time between the three modes? What are my completion goals this time around? So it's opinion time! Overall, I have to say I'm loving the game. It's a month in, and it's still really fun to hop on and play, and that's really all that matters, that a game be fun. My thoughts about the multiplayer gameplay hasn't changed much at all since the beta though, with my main complaint being about the specialists. I know there are people on all sides of that. I'll summarize how I feel about them. If you're tired of hearing it from me, because I've said it before, feel free to skip through. I know that these types of abilities can be fun, and can work in a competitive environment. We all know the other games, whether you call them heroes or operators, or specialists. This class-based gameplay is nothing new, but what I think makes them a bad fit for Call of Duty specifically is how they don't mesh with kill streaks. Yeah, you can use your abilities to tactically clear an objective, or block a path, or work together with your team. Kind of, I guess. But going on a streak has been at the core of COD for a very long time now, and there are still streaks in this game because people expect that. You can't remove kill streaks. But when you then throw in super powerful abilities and equipment that don't take anything but time to earn, and are often very difficult to counter and sometimes impossible to see coming, and those can kill you when you were 1 point off your strike team that was really going to help turn the tide of the game, that seems like fundamentally flawed game design to me. They don't mix. It's one or the other. One of the worst feelings in a multiplayer game is dying when you feel like there's nothing you could have done to prevent it. That is sometimes the case in this game, and it doesn't apply to streaks, for example. If I get killed by a gunship, well, you and your team could have been playing better to knock that guy off his streak and prevent it. He played well, and he earned that. It also doesn't apply to getting killed by someone better than you. Obviously, you get outplayed sometimes. But when it comes to something like getting in a fight and then he pulls out a grav slam, or a war machine getting spammed in your direction, getting lit up by a vision pulse, or a shock mine that tracked you down from halfway across the map, even if you get the timing right to cut it short, you're still dead if the guy was following the drone around. And none of those were really earned through exceptional gameplay. Yeah, that isn't a good feeling, to feel helpless. I find myself saying, "guess I'll die," several times in every game. And look, now that I'm a bad player, I feel like I'm more justified in having this opinion. Like, I was never that great on PS4, but I was above average, ended World War II with a 1.7 KD, despite all the goofy challenges I go for and the crappy weapons I used for thousands of reticle kills. Now on PC, I'm clearly below average. My direct action KD is something like 0.9. So I am now in the group that benefits from these abilities that act as skill equalizers. yet I still don't like them. I don't feel like I did a cool thing when I get a War Machine feed, and when I am going on a streak, which is now more rare than ever, even something as simple as getting 5 kill streaks for camos, for that to be ended by some cheap feeling ability is like, come on man, I'm really trying here. What was I supposed to do there to prevent that? I don't mind being a bad player and being bested by better players, but I'll never be a fan of the specialist equalizers in COD. They are the requisitions of this game, and everyone has one at all times. Well, I meant for that to be a summary and then went on for several minutes. I'll try not to keep bringing up that topic again in the future, and I hope it doesn't come off as too negative. Yeah, it is my main gripe with the design of the game, but I've accepted it. I know the core of their game isn't changing. Clearly, when in all their trailers they always show a ton of specialist gameplay, like recently in the Nuketown one, that makes it look less fun to me than if you just showed regular gunfights, but alright, thanks for the RCXD tunnel. All I can really hope for is a bare-bones playlist with all of it turned off. But like I said earlier, I am having plenty of fun despite disagreeing with that design philosophy. Next, I could comment on the black market system. I tested the rate but never gave much of an opinion on it aside from, yeah, it's pretty slow. I know some people make a big deal out of it. I think it sucks that it's separated from zombies, and it's unfortunate that it's only about time played, but they have some pretty good anti-AFK systems in place. Overall, I really don't care. I'm not offended by the system. I do think it's a step down from World War II when it comes to ease of earning everything, but if you're able to set aside some time for the double earn rate weekends, those are very helpful, and they do now have the daily tier skips to help as well, and for this first event, at least, it's all cosmetic. Like usual, it seems like there's a lot of complaining about different and opposite things. Some people going on about how they're making you pay to unlock all the loot because it's too slow, it's so unfair, as if earning all the cosmetics is super important. Then the other camp saying, all the loot is crap, why would I pay for any of this? I'd actually buy it if the loot were better. Well, what do you mean? Like new weapons? Crazy flashy skins? What are you saying, dude? Don't make the loot better. Don't make it a more central part of the game. I thought we all wanted it to be less intrusive, less important. When both of those conflicting complaints get an equally massive amount of upvotes, it's easy to see why they aren't going to change anything. Like, I thought they hated this, but hey look, people are saying they want us to make the loot better, so they're more inclined to buy it. Hey, that works for us. Whatever, with how it is right now, I really don't care either way. Of course, they're bound to make the outfits and everything progressively more out there as we go, so people who want crazy outfits, you're obviously gonna get that. This is just the first wave, and they're bound to add new weapons as well. If you were typing up a comment about how sour you're an idiot, haven't you played a COD before? It always starts as cosmetic only, and then they add the weapons. Yeah, obviously. But wait and see how they do it before you get all riled up. Otherwise, it really loses impact when people start petitions and there's outrage about every little thing. They may not care as much when there's outrage about an actual bigger problem. Now, you can call me a fool if you like, but I don't expect the new weapons to be added in a way that is a big problem. I don't think it's been bad since Black Ops 3, when weapons were truly locked behind RNG. It hasn't been hard to earn new weapons since then. They've learned to adapt a system that isn't as offensive, while still being very profitable. For this game, maybe they give base variants to Black Ops pass holders, maybe not. I could see them putting a new gun around tier 10 of an event, something like that, with the fancier variants of the weapon either in reserves or at a super high tier, because what that does is it makes the weapon easily accessible to everyone. Anyone can put in 8 to 10 hours in a big 50-day event. If you can't play that much, then I don't see why you care about having the gun at all. I think most people would be fine if they did that. It's like doing a little challenge to unlock the gun completely for free, but it also incentivizes those people who just can't wait that long and who have to have the weapon as soon as it drops to get their hands on it first. Those people would have to drop the 10 extra bucks to get the weapon right away. So I can see them going that route, and I wouldn't care about that. It's only if they put those new weapons too high, they'll start to see the backlash. No new guns at tier 50, people are gonna get upset. So there's a little note on the black market. I really don't care much at all. It's cosmetic right now, and when it inevitably isn't, they've done it in a fair way for the past several games. I wouldn't expect anything unfair. You never really know, but I have enough faith that they aren't going to take a major step back. And if they do, then I'll be in support of the outrage. Until then, who cares? On to more positive stuff, which is everything else. I really am loving the game, and can't think of any other serious complaints aside from some balancing, but they're always working away making changes, and the obvious technical issues here and there. There's always going to be some of that. I've been lucky to avoid most of it, and it looks like they're making good progress on that front as well. The challenges are a big reason I play the game. Those are new since the beta review, of course. We can talk about them. I love the hunt and the grind, the big 100%, and they're great in Black Ops 4. Reminiscent of Black Ops 3, this is something Treyarch has done better than anyone else. There are various challenge bugs here and there with some things seeming not to count, but I can do other things and wait for fixes. And aside from that, I don't have any complaints about the system. I love how they split up the categories so that every set has a clean 12 challenges that fits on the page, no scrolling around. Like in the perks, they don't even have challenges for every perk because they were clearly adhering to a strict 12 challenges per category. I like it. And all the calling cards in each group follow a clear theme with the animated card for mastery. I love that I can look at someone's calling card and often know what challenge it was. And I love that the animated cards are reserved for mastery categories and for completing collections in the black market, I suppose. But I'm hoping they don't flood the game with filler animated titles. There are only 2 in the first black market wave, I think. I like them being considered somewhat special, completely not the case in World War II. And I like the return of Dark Ops. I don't care enough to go for them myself, but I'm grateful that they clearly understand the desire to grind out 100% and that they've kept all the very high skill or super fluky challenges out of it, so they aren't required. I guess that's enough praising of the challenge system. On a somewhat related note, I'm actually really enjoying the fact that there are no complicated daily challenges. I thought they were something I enjoyed about World War II that kept me coming back, but I'm rediscovering how much more relaxing it is to just play when and how I want to play, and focus on the actual challenges, and play some Blackout, because if there were daily challenges, I'm the type of person who obsessively has to complete them all every single day, and I know that's on me for doing that. But now I no longer feel obligated to put in an hour or 2 every single day. The daily tier skips they added are cool, that doesn't take much time at all, and I would absolutely welcome weekly challenges back. We're getting something like that through that awful COD Companion app. It was very broken for the first couple weeks, but now I have my squad and we can do those weekly challenges for rewards. The first one is just a tag, but maybe they'll throw in an exclusive weapon variant in there someday, we shall see. Moving along, when it comes to what my completion goals are for this game, if you couldn't tell, I will be aiming for the multiplayer 100% at my own slow pace, and of course Master Prestige on the way, not level 1000, no thanks. In Blackout, I know I'll hit Echelon 81 eventually, that's a goal. I'm not aiming for 100% in the Blackout challenges though. Several of them are much more challenging than the multiplayer ones, and I know it would be frustrating if I were stressing over getting them done. Multiplayer is more fun to kick back and grind out. In Blackout, there's so much downtime between games, and I don't find it very fun solo, so Blackout I prefer to just play normally and in groups, because I enjoy the gameplay. Isn't that a novel idea? Actually playing the game because it's fun, and not to grind challenges. So I'll get some of those challenges done over time, and may make some guides for them if I have some helpful tips, but I'm not gonna go crazy trying to get everything. I haven't even made an effort to be unlocking the characters. If one of the items falls into my lap, I'll give it a try, but otherwise really no big deal. Then finally, in Zombies, I don't have any goals when it comes to level or challenges. I have played it a bit though. I got the Halloween war paints unlocked while knocking out those global challenges, and it is a fun casual mode which I may play here and there for events. I can't stop myself from going for the headshot camos, which is why I put it on the spreadsheet, but I don't intend to ever finish all of them. I don't think there's a Zombies equivalent of dark matter. They could call it gray matter. Hire me, Treyarch. So my time played so far has been about 2 days in multiplayer, 2 days in Blackout, and 8 or 9 hours in Zombies. Haven't played too much, but I'm enjoying everything the game has to offer. Like, even though the Zombies isn't something I plan on grinding out, I do like it. I'm really not a big Zombies guy, so treat my opinion as whatever, but I'm always talking about how I loved it the most in Black Ops 1, then was less into it in BO2, and BO3 really lost me with how complicated everything was, with the puzzles and the chores just to get to that fun spot where you have some pack-a-punched guns and a good place to kite. Same thing for World War II. I don't have that complaint about BO4. I think it's great. The first map I played was Voyage, and I didn't need to watch any tutorials. I found out how to pack-a-punch on my own. It wasn't that complicated. Had a good time. I've also seen some of the videos of people breaking down the storyline and the cutscenes as well. I have a cursory understanding. I can appreciate that. Putting nostalgia aside, as far as I'm concerned, this is maybe my favorite iteration of Zombies, especially factoring in the challenge system for it, even though I don't plan on completing it. And I feel similarly about the game as a whole. Putting nostalgia aside, like I look back on several of the older CODs fondly, and some of the campaigns were great, and only 1 month in, I guess the honeymoon phase isn't completely gone. Get all those disclaimers out of the way, but factoring in all 3 modes this game has to offer, I could easily see putting this in my top 3 COD games, as someone who places a very high value on the challenge system, of course. But I think this is a really solid COD game that has brought a lot of people back, brought a lot of people to PC COD as well, thanks to Blackout, myself included, and unlike World War II, which also brought a lot of people back, it hasn't scared them all away again with a disaster of a launch and a couple of very rocky months. It hasn't been perfect, stability-wise, but seems to be holding strong for the most part, and their interaction with the community and frequent large updates has been fantastic so far, hoping they keep that up, and it sounds like plenty of events and new content is on the way. So I'll wrap things up there. Loving the game, hope you are too, but I know there's a wide range of people who like and dislike it, as there will be with anything. Understandable. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.